Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to another Science in the Kitchen. For our lab today, for our investigation, we are going to be investigating weather and climate. Now, the topic for weather and climate is quite difficult to do an investigation, but we're going to do something different. I'm going to ask Alexa something. Hey Alexa, what's the weather like today?
Currently, in Laredo it's 86 degrees Fahrenheit with cloudy skies. Today, you can expect some sun and thunderstorms, with a high of 93 degrees and a low of 79 degrees.
So we can ask Alexa, or Google, or watch the news, and find out what the weather would be like. But what about our climate? Could we search that up too? Let me ask Siri. So now we're going to ask what the climate is like. Let's see if we can find any data about that. But let's find a location. Let's say the Sahara Desert. Hey Siri, what is the climate like in the Sahara Desert?
Okay, I found this on the web for what is the climate like in the Sahara Desert. Check it out.
So when I ask Siri what the climate is like, she can give me different websites that I can go to and research what the climate is like in different areas. For example, the Sahara Desert. What we're going to first go ahead and do today is we're going to do some little activities. Let's go ahead and go to the kitchen table for this. For the first activity that we're going to do, is we're going to look at some photos. Now, I'm not going to do all of them. Let's go ahead and do 2, and then the rest will be done by you. What we need to look at are different photos. So the first photo that I have here is of a park. Now, if I were to look at this photo and describe the environment and the weather conditions in this photo, what would I say? Well, to me, it looks sunny. There's no rain. There's no clouds. So it looks like a very green area. So to me, that gives me a clue that this area does receive plenty of rain. So I would be able to write that down. Pause the video in the next section so that you can write down your information under my first box. So I'm going to go ahead and write that park area sunny skies. And then the next question is this an example of weather or climate? So what I wrote, would this be weather or would this be climate? Well, because I mentioned that it looked like that this day here in this picture had sunny skies, this would be weather. So I would write down weather for this picture. Let's go ahead and do one more example. The next example, to me, it looks like it's a desert. It looks sunny, but there's also some clouds. But in this area, it looks like it doesn't get that much rain. I know that deserts have cactuses, and there's not a lot of green. There's a lot of brown, dry dirt. So to me, this looks like a desert that's very dry. So I'm going to write that under the description. Again, pause the video to write down your information. Desert-like area, dry ground, and little green. Now, in this picture, I explained that to me, it looked like an area that's a desert. So if I'm describing what the area looks like, then would I be describing weather or would I be describing climate? In this case, I'm describing climate. So I'm going to write climate. On the rest of this handout, you're going to go ahead and do the next 3 pictures. And you're going to describe the environment just like we did and tell me if it was weather or climate that you were describing. And then you will answer the following 3 questions. Now, for our next activity, we want to also work with climate. And we want to know, and we have to know for 5th grade, the difference between weather and climate. Now there's key words that you should be learning with your teacher. Go back to your notes and look at those key words for weather and climate. And we're going to look for those key words in little sets of cards, and we're going to create a T-chart. One side is going to have weather and the other side is going to have climate. So now let's go ahead and look at the first card that I have. The lowest recorded temperature for Austin, Texas is -2 degrees Fahrenheit. So, keywords here. Lowest recorded for Austin, Texas. So that means that the lowest temperature ever that's been recorded in Austin was a -2 degrees Fahrenheit. So now, am I describing weather or am I describing climate? If you thought climate, you're correct. So I'm going to put this under climate. The next one. It was cloudy and rainy all weekend. Now, cloudy is a key word. Rainy is another key word. And now it said all weekend. Now, all weekend, is that a long time? Well, a weekend is only consisted of 2 days. So would I be describing weather or would I be describing climate? If you thought weather, you're correct. And you place it on your T-chart. Now you're going to finish this chart for your activity and you're going to look for keywords. But in your activity, I want you to underline the keywords that we were talking about. Okay, so for example, in this one was cloudy, rainy, and all weekend. And in this example, we had lowest recorded temperature in Austin, Texas for an area. So that would be climate. So go ahead and continue with this investigation on your own. Continue your T-chart and also your photos for the first part. I'll see you soon, but don't forget that to be a good scientist, you have to have an open mind.